Hi, this is Terry Anzer from Strangers in the Living Room, and I'm a proud citizen of two great countries, the United States and Slovenia. And this video is for anyone who's ever thought about applying for dual citizenship through European Ancestry. So why do you even want two passports? Well, among other things, you can stay in Europe for longer than 3 months at a time, or attend university at much lower cost than in the United States. It can save you time when crossing borders and help you get into certain countries where Americans have to apply for and pay for a visa. Now, this is complicated. I'm not going to lie. I'll have links for all of the steps that I'm going to go through that apply to the country of Slovenia. It may be different in the country where you apply, but I hope this will get you started and that you'll like or subscribe to this YouTube channel if you find this information helpful. So, how do you get started applying for citizenship in the EU? First of all, you have to look at where your family came from. My mother's family was from Poland, and my dad's family came from what is now Slovenia. My Polish-American mom was adopted, so we couldn't establish a direct line of ancestry. Plus, some of the relevant records were destroyed during wartime. So we focused on Slovenia. Borders have shifted in Europe, so make sure you have the right country. My dad always said that his parents were from Austria, but that's because their Slovenian hometown was in Austria when they left in 1911. Later, Slovenia was part of Yugoslavia, and it didn't even become a country until 1991. So, now that you've settled on a country, go to the website of the embassy of that country in the country where you live. This is where you will find the legal requirements for what is sometimes called extraordinary citizenship. Now, this can apply to people with exceptional talents, like world-class athletes who are given a different citizenship so they can compete in the Olympics for a certain country. Or it can apply to people like you and me who are just embracing their European roots. Once you find the website, you should find the basic requirements for extraordinary citizenship through descent for that particular country. In Slovenia, they are at least one parent or grandparent born in what is now Slovenia, active connection with Slovenia, and proof of your Slovenia-related activity for at least 5 years. Let's take a look at those requirements one at a time. You will need to provide official copies of your birth certificate, plus the birth, marriage, and death certificates of every relative in your direct line to your Slovenia-born ancestors. Now, you can't just make a photocopy of what is in your family album. Oh no. You have to write to the relevant state agency and get an official copy with a seal. I had to get documents from Delaware, where I was born, and Pennsylvania, where my parents were born and got married. Plus, the Slovenian document confirming your ancestors' birth in Slovenia, or whatever country where you happen to be applying. You also need to get a copy of your current passport and get an FBI background check. A more challenging requirement, at least in Slovenia's case, may be proving your connection with Slovenia on a continuing basis. I highly recommend joining the Slovenian Union of America if you haven't already. Whatever organization you join or already belong to will have to provide a letter verifying that you are an active member in good standing. I also submitted certificates of my attendance at Slovenian language school and letters that we got from family members in the 1960s, as well as my grandparents' immigration documents from Ellis Island. Then you will need to get an apostille for each of these documents. So what is an apostille? Usually an attached page that confirms it's a real document and not a fake. Again, you have to send away for this separately, and every time you have to pay a fee. Once you have everything connected, all of your documents with an apostille, then you can send everything in. And Slovenia requires all of your documents to be translated into the Slovenian language. And oh no, your native-speaking friends or relatives cannot help you out with this. It has to be done by an official court translator in Slovenia. That's why I highly recommend hiring a lawyer to help you send in your application like we did. She arranged for the official copy of the baptism record of my grandfather and for the legal translations, and she followed our application as it went through the court system for several months. It is another expense, and it's not cheap, but it's totally worth it. Finally, I was approved and invited to take the oath in person. I went to the Slovenian embassy in Washington, D.C. You could go to the consulate in Cleveland, sometimes in San Francisco, or you could just go to Slovenia and take the oath there. I got emotional as I thought about what my immigrant grandparents sacrificed to make this moment possible for me. And yes, you should probably visit the country before you apply to be a citizen there if you haven't already. I fell in love with the land of my grandparents and decided to live here part-time. I bought an apartment here, which was also easier because I was a citizen. And when you have a European passport, you have a lot more options for living and working in any country in the EU. Now, it was a hassle, it cost money, but totally worth it to have 2 passports. And if you've applied or if you have questions, let me know in the comments below. I have lots of info on travel and life in Slovenia on my blog, Strangers in the Living Room, and some tips on how to find your ancestors from over there. So, don't be a stranger. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and srećno! Good luck.